My dear friends, I happily welcome you to the second session on developing your spirituality. In this session, we will focus on the purpose of spirituality. But first, let's review the four major points from the first session on spirituality. First, spirituality concerns the quality of your life, especially in relationship to a higher power, which can be called by various names. Secondly, spirituality is not religion. Religion deals with the rules and practices of a specific religion, whereas spirituality deals with the quality of your life and your relationship to a higher power. Third, it's very important for the seeker to be able to meet a teacher who will do the following things for the person who is pursuing their spirituality. The teacher will first of all be able to answer any and all initial questions of the seeker. Very important. Secondly, the teacher will be able to suggest a series of practical spiritual guidelines to improve the quality of the seeker's life. And thirdly, the teacher will also enable the seeker to have a much more meaningful, all-inclusive vision of life. And the last of the four things, what the seeker must do. First, the seeker must have the willingness to want to learn. So very important. Secondly, the seeker must realize that the spiritual journey takes time and commitment. There's no magic button to push. And thirdly, the seeker must take action, hopefully now, because developing your spirituality with the intelligence and the love it offers is the absolute best thing you can do in your life, and it's the absolutely best thing you can do for others. So with this review in mind, let us now begin with the purpose of spirituality. Let me begin with two rather simple and direct questions. The first one, if spirituality doesn't improve the quality and meaningfulness of your life, it's useless. And why would you want to pursue it? The second question, on the other hand, if spirituality would improve both the quality of your life and give you a meaningfulness that you have not had previously, why would you not pursue it? Especially now, because you obviously have an interest in it. It certainly seems that you really want to move ahead. You're ready to progress in your spirituality. So let's address the purpose of spirituality, presupposing that you have made a commitment to develop your spirituality and that you have found a teacher and or at least a study group to assist your development. So let's get right to the point. What is the purpose of spirituality? There are many simple and many complex answers to the question. So let me begin with the ultimate goal of spirituality, which will provide the larger vision and meaningfulness of life for you. And then I will proceed to outline the specific steps for you. First, the ultimate goal of spirituality is simply stated in these words. The ultimate goal is to bring heaven to earth, to live in such a way that you will bring your highest consciousness, into the daily activities of your life, that you will greet life and the people in it with kindness and love. And yet, Dealing with this highest aspect of yourself will also enable you to deal with all of the hassles of earthly living in a much more intelligent and calm way. So let me repeat that. The goal is to bring heaven to earth, to live in such a way that you will have kindness and love in your life and with the people you love, and to be able to deal with hassles in life. Such a way of living is much more, it's much more than just being an occasional nice person who occasionally gets angry, frustrated, and depressed. A little more. One way to bring heaven to earth is by following the guidance given in a wonderful book entitled A Course in Miracles. This is what it states. Child of God, that's you. Child of God, that's you. You were created to create the good, the beautiful, and the holy. Let me repeat this. Child of God, you were created to create the good, the beautiful, and the holy. This is how you bring heaven to earth, by creating the good, the beautiful, and the holy in your life, for yourself, for your family, for your friends, and of course for the world as well. And isn't this exactly what you want to do? Don't you want to create the good, the beautiful, and the holy in your life? And of course, for the people that you love so well. Well, then, A Course in Miracles offers a very important next line. The next line, right after it says, Child of God, you were created to create the good, the beautiful, and the holy. The very next line says, do not forget this. Do not forget this. Do not forget that you were created to create the good, the beautiful, and the holy, which is exactly what you want. Is it not? But, unfortunately, you might have forgotten, along with the vast majority of the human population, what it really means to create the good, the beautiful, and the holy. So let's take a brief moment to review these last few comments. First of all, you know where we are ultimately heading. We have the ultimate goal of creating heaven on earth by simply creating the good, the beautiful, and the holy. And perhaps you have forgotten not only that larger purpose, but also perhaps maybe you have forgotten how to create the good, the beautiful, and the holy in the everyday things in your life. So now, just before we begin to establish the specific purpose for you in sequential steps, there's one more very important thing to note. And this is very important before we get to the specific steps. People in life are at various levels of consciousness. I need to say this again. People in life, you and me, we are at different levels of consciousness. Some people have a very low consciousness. They simply react to what is happening outside of them. Perhaps you know some people. Some people have a more developed consciousness, which enables them to look at things calmly and rationally and respond accordingly. Perhaps you know some people. Some people have a higher degree of spirituality and seem to be linked to that higher power all the time. Perhaps you know some people. Please do not forget this notion of the range of consciousness. the range of consciousness. It will help you to understand many better things in life, and it certainly will help you to better understand others. So let's get back to you. Let's get back to you. Now that you know that the ultimate purpose is to bring heaven to earth, what is the specific purpose for you? To answer this question thoroughly, I will now outline for you a series of steps for you to follow. Again, understanding that each person is at a different level of consciousness, which the good teacher will be able to recognize. But in general, here's the first step. The first step in developing your spirituality, the first step is to release the old thoughts and emotions that block the light of the spirit within you and no longer serve you. To reduce the blockages. We often call such thoughts and emotions baggage. Baggage. You have to release the baggage that blocks your spiritual progress. These old habits are best presented by asking you the following questions. Do you often get mad, angry, or jealous? Secondly, do you often lose your temper, get stressed, swear a lot? Thirdly, do you feel that no one understands you? Fourth, do you have trouble in forming or maintaining relationships? 5, do you have an addiction? An addiction to alcohol, drugs, gambling, sex? 6, are you money hungry? And does money control you? 7, do you think that you are better than others? Honestly, do you think you're better than others? 8, do you judge people a lot? 9, are you critical of people, especially those whom you don't like? 10, did you ever feel like committing suicide? 11, are you often depressed or frustrated? And number 12, do you feel that no one cares about you? As you can probably see, I could have expanded these 12 questions into 24 or 36. The obvious point of the first step in spirituality is that you have to release your personal habits that are blocking your spiritual development. But on a very positive note, you have probably wanted to get rid of these habits for quite some time. Who wants these old habits like an albatross around your neck? Something about them just has not felt right to you recently. And that discomfort was a good sign that they're ready to be released. And please realize that anyone who has developed a good sense of spirituality had to begin at the same starting point, releasing what no longer fits. Thus, a good teacher will suggest a series of spiritual tools which will enable you to rise above your old behavioral habits. This first step is critical. The spiritual aspirant has to know how to release old stuff. You got to get rid of baggage. A simple hint, don't focus on the baggage, although there is much more to it that your spiritual teacher will explain to you. Your teacher will enable you to get at the root of your old habits. They will not allow you to wiggle off the hook, and they will outline the right program for you, often involving a few weekly meetings at the beginning. As I have said, there are no magic buttons to push concerning spirituality. It takes time and attention, but it is so worth the effort for yourself and certainly for the people that you love. The second step. After one begins the work of cleaning up their old habits that no longer fit, the second step involves one's relationships with others. You see, it's relatively easy to clean up your own act, but it's quite difficult to get along at times with others, especially in those closer relationships of family, co-workers, and friends. A good spiritual teacher will help you to understand how to get along better with others so that they don't press your buttons. Because quite frankly, relationships have a tendency to press your buttons more than anything else. And the closer the relationships, the more buttons they seem to push. Well, again, a few questions will help guide the process. Number one, are you easily hurt? Number two, are you overly sensitive? You take everything to heart. Number three, do you wear your emotions on your sleeve? Number four, do ignorant people unduly upset you? Number five, do ignorant people make you unduly ignorant? Number six, do you forgive but do not forget? Number seven, do you ever not even forgive? Still holding grudges? Number eight, do certain people press your buttons? Number nine, do you like to press the buttons of others? Number 10, do you dislike know-it-alls? Number 11, are you a know-it-all? And number 12, can you allow another person just to have a bad day without being unduly critical of them? Again, these 12 questions could have been expanded into 24 or 36. You begin to see clearly the work that needs to be done in releasing your old habits and dealing effectively with others. A good teacher will help you to develop the spiritual tools to deal with these first two steps. And a good teacher will hold you gently accountable to make progress, as well as providing the inspiration and the encouragement that the spiritual seeker will need. It's important to be accountable to another, yet also to be inspired by them. We will end the second session here. But wait a minute, you might say. I thought that spirituality had to do with things of the inner spirit and with God and with one's view of the world. I thought that I would learn things like meditation and other spiritual techniques. What about these things? You are right. You will learn about the inner you, about the God Spirit and the universe. You will learn about meditation and other spiritual techniques after you release your baggage. So many students who pursue spirituality on their own become very frustrated because they have not released the blockages to their spiritual growth. The good teacher, the good spiritual teacher understands this and will guide the student appropriately. The good stuff comes after you have released much of the bad stuff. Let me repeat this. The good stuff comes after you have released most of the bad stuff. As you can plainly see, spirituality has a lot to it. It takes time. In session 3, we will continue with the 3rd and 4th steps in spirituality and begin to explore your role in it. For now, however, remember that the big picture of bringing heaven to earth, so very, very important, includes releasing baggage from yourself and from your relationship with others. So very important to know that. So let me close with the word namaste. It's a word we often use in spiritual circles. Namaste means the good in me sees the good in you, or the God in me sees the God in you. Namaste.